I see a Budweiser. Go ahead and hold it up.
Yes.
That was the biggest clue.
Yes, right
Doing
there.
it for Dale.
Man, it's so many gimmicks, right? I feel like they're making it a lot more complicated than it needs to be. I mean, a lot of people, you get polarizing opinions on DRS.
I know you guys know exactly what I'm talking about here, but sometimes the effort, it's all about the boys. You know, like, hey, you know, life sucks sometimes, and you need the boys.
iRacing kind of always has a tendency to kind of buff
Yes.
the new cars just a little bit. I'm not going to go on record saying it's because they want people to spend money on their platform and buy all the new content.
Confirmed.
But
Yes.
but
Hello and welcome. Happy Sunday, everybody. My name is Adam Thompson, and joined in the booth with me today for the very first time is Daniel, Mr. Zippy Salmon. I think Daniel's still getting things set up as we are running just a little bit behind here, but today we are at Hockenheim Ring, and it is going to be a great race. Lots of drafting, lots of everything. Hopefully not a lot of wrecks, but as a commentator and a broadcaster, we want to see a few. Daniel, welcome in. I hope you can hear me. Are you there?
I'm here, sir. I'm here in body, maybe not in mind, but it is a work in progress. We're going to be joining you very, very shortly. I'm looking forward to it today. The Weekend Warriors is an absolutely fantastic league. It's one I've had the pleasure of taking part in, more so in the Spec Ford. It's going to be my first time seeing these guys in the F1600s today.
Yeah, it's going to be a great race, and very quickly here, we'll try to get an onboard lap here. Looks like number 76 is about to start his lap, if I can find him here. We are still getting there. Simon Ball. All right, here we go. So going on board here with Simon. He has just gone through turn 1, about to enter turn 2. Daniel, think you can do a lap around this track?
Now, Hockenheim is a track I've driven a couple of times. It's never been what I would say is one of my Princess approved tracks, but I will say this, it is going to be a lot of fun, and especially in these cars, they are going to have to keep in mind that you've got to decide, are you going to race the guy ahead of you, or are you going to try and race the whole field? Because drafting is going to be a huge part of having success here.
It really is, and here he comes into the hairpin. This is going to be a very, very difficult corner to get right. You got to start wide. You got to get it as close to the inside as possible. Don't wash out too wide. There is a sausage curve out there that will hurt you. Now coming through the final part of the section, this is almost a flat out, should actually be a flat out corner in these cars. Again, try to keep it to the right side of the track for a left-hander, a bit off camber here. It can catch people out with the sausage curve on the inside. He does okay there. Now back to the right, fling it right, hard, very, very quick part of the track going through here. Then you got another right-hander coming up, maybe a minor lift. You got a sand trap there on the left side that you got to watch out for. Seems to be doing okay. And now the left-hander again off camber. This is where things get a little bit tight. Got to get this series of corners just right. He looks like he just understeers a little bit wide. He keeps it on track though. Now left again, then back right, and then you've got two more corners technically. Actually, got to be careful here. You can get super loose. This is where I've seen a lot of people lose it. And then down the front straight to complete their lap. We have about 30 seconds left in qualifying, and James Berry there in first position with Kabenka in second. Jorg Meine sitting in third. Going to be a great race here. You can see a lot of the gaps. We are on interval right now, but the gaps are looking pretty even right now. So, Daniel, we have got a race on our hands here. 45 minutes. It's going to be a good one.
Oh, it's going to be an absolute belter. And just looking through the field, I'd certainly recognize a couple of the names. Jason Green, I've raced against that guy. He's quick for sure. Jim Brewster seems familiar. Stevie Ray, obviously, that is a name I recognize as well. Adam Bradshaw as well. That's ringing a bell. But we have got quite a variety of iRating here in this race today. But don't be fooled. Certainly sometimes, especially when it comes to league racing, iRating is very much the wolf in sheep's clothing. You can be very, very quickly upstaged if you make assumptions.
Yeah, you absolutely can. And again, this is a fuel limited track. So you've got fuel. You've got a pit stop that's coming in. I don't know if Stevie Ray is actually racing today. So we always talk about the pit lane opening when Stevie goes in, because Stevie likes to get in as quick as possible. So it's going to be a very interesting race here for these guys. So waiting here for the rest of the field to come in. Or to complete their laps, and then we're going to get to it.
It's definitely going to be a fun race, certainly. It's quite a large field as well. I see 26, 27 cars in the order right now. That is a lot of people to play with, so whether you're at the top or whether you're at the bottom, there's definitely going to be someone for you to race with.
Yep, there absolutely will be. 100%. Stand by, guys. I am still getting some overlays here, trying to get everything worked out here, and we will be back with you very, very shortly. All right, Daniel, I'm gonna get you the live timing here so you can at least have that. I don't know how they do it over there on Apex. Yep, that'll work. All right, apologies for that, guys. We are back here, still waiting on qualifying to end, and we will get you the grid for this race. Just give us 1 second here. Still waiting on the grid. Again, going to be a great race today. Again, lots and lots of drafting. Should be a fun one. Daniel, where are your overtaking opportunities? Where do you think it's going to be a good spot to pass here?
Well, there is going to be plenty of them available. Certainly in these cars, the F1600s, I've always found when you have like a lower performance car, not to knock the thing, but I find that opens up more opportunities, and where the draft is going to be a huge part of it. Obviously, you got the straights, but realistically, I think pretty much every corner on this track is available if you have the courage to do so. Don't get me wrong, race clean, race hard, but certainly, as I have a look, Nord Curve, maybe not where I'm going to go for it. The Parabolica, potentially, there's room there. Spitzkehrer, absolutely that tight hairpin, and certainly as well Sud Curve heading onto the back straight. You could make a pass, but I would suggest not to do so. You want to sit behind your opponent and then trail them the whole way down the straight. But let's take a quick look at the grid, sir.
Yeah, we got James Berry starting in first in the pro class with Christian Kabenka hot on his heels. Then we got Jorg Mani. This guy is extremely fast, always has been in the Masters division. He is splitting two S1 drivers with Simon Ball in fourth, Jason Green in fifth. The first S2 driver, David Foy, sitting in sixth place with Antonio Reese seventh. Brad Cathcart in eighth with Jorge Gonzaga sitting in ninth. Chris Montgomery 10th, Jesus Rodriguez in 11th with Kevin Adrian rounding out your top 12. Then we're going to get into the 13th position with Paul Stevens with Fabian Singer in 14th, Bill Walker 15th, Brewster in 16th, Dana Bowes in 17th with Philip Holy Moly Kolajewski in 18th with Joshua Wilkie 19th, Stevie Ray rounding out your top 20, Leon Bockhurst in 21st, Peter True 22nd, Edgar Sanchinelli. Edgar is going to be racing today in 23rd with Paul Jackson rounding out 24th. And the final few drivers on the grid, Gary Wobolt, Adam Bradshaw, and Russell Telker. We have a race to get to here. Hopefully, they haven't started driving around yet. No, they haven't. Very quickly, let's get to some points here, if we can, before we start rolling off. In our S1 class, we've got in the top three, James Berry, Jason Green, and Michael McConnell. Berry and Green, as you can see, only separated by 3 points. Let's keep an eye on that battle throughout the afternoon. In S2, we've got David Foy, who is very, very far ahead of Bill Walker with Dana Bowes rounding out your top three. And in the Masters division, things should be closing up. Antonio Reese with 525, Jorg Mani with 362. Keep in mind, drop weeks have not been calculated yet, so that's going to be good. Jorg Mani seems to be pretty good, and Antonio Reese sitting back there right now in 7th position. But let's get to the race, Daniel.
Oh, there's definitely a couple of names in there I was familiar with. Megan Overstreet as well. Somebody who I've raced with, somebody who works very much a lot of the time, so it's great to see them out on the track when they can. I don't see him in the lobby today, though, which is a little bit of a shame, but understandable. But it looks like they're doing the pace car now, that Porsche 911 safety car. He's getting a couple of laps, and definitely, if you are in that car looking behind you, the sheer size of the field is about, basically, you're surrounded by a bunch of angry Hornets at this point. People are going to be vying for position, and it's going to be interesting to see as well, are they going to get through the first lap cleanly?
I'm very, very worried about turn one here. There is a pretty big slipstream opportunity between down the front straightaway into turn one, and then another slipstream opportunity into turn two. So, yes, and turn two is going to get a little bit hairy. It's not a full hairpin, but it's enough to cause some issues here. So let's see how everybody does. Going to be very interesting here. Daniel, I'm going to give it to you for the call.
Oh dear, famous last words there, but it looks like James Barry is going to be there. He's going to have the control of when the start goes. Looks like he's primed and ready. A lot of red cars at the front, very popular. The lights are going, and they are off, and he is absolutely on the way. He's going, and he goes and cuts across, defending turn one, as you see there. Jorg Mani right behind him, I believe. Kabanga right behind him as I update my timing screen as well. See a little bit of a run there on the side at the back, but so far very quickly into single file. Actually, Mani, I think I've raced before as well. I recognize him there. A little bit of a lockup. Somebody's just gone wide. Gonzaga there. That's a very classy racing team. I believe that's a Portuguese driver. He's there in 7th, and it looks like it's very, very clean so far. No major accidents to report.
Very clean so far, and I forgot to pull up the trading paint, so I apologize. You will see drivers and paint start to come through on the screen very, very quickly. We do have Jorg Mani, though, back here in 3rd place, just holding on. Looks like there was a move. Christian Kabenka down to the inside of James Berry for P1. This is a long race. Again, 40 minutes, so everybody needs to keep their cool here. There's nothing to do. So far, you're not going to win a race, as everyone says on lap 1, but let's talk about tire heat. I don't think tires are going to be as big of an issue here as we've seen in the past, Daniel, because there are not as many high-speed, sharp corners. You've got a lot of straights to cool those tires down as well.
It is definitely something to think about as we see one of the cars there running a little bit wide. A fantastic headshot. Whoa, that was very wide from that purple car in the background. They absolutely sent it. Who's that now? We'll try and work it out. Oh, go ahead.
That's Jim Brewster there. He looks like he took the most of the damage here. Who else? There was a purple car there that caused, I think that was the cause of the start of that. We will get a replay. It may have been Fabian Singer there. Fabian's got an SMB logo on the car. Look at that. First time I've seen that. Thank you so much, Fabian, for the shout out. Oh, that's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful car.
Yeah, definitely, certainly how to score points with the commentary team is have the logo on the car as Fabian is already heading in the pits. Let's take a quick look at this replay from the 810 of Fabian Singer. They're going down around the outside, and that looked like a little bit of a nudge. Oh, yeah, that's a nudge. It looks like Brewster got caught in that, and basically just completely flipped off the track. The racing line was gone, but that is a fun thing with these cars. If all of a sudden you get a bit of wheel-to-wheel contact and they touch, it's very similar to Formula One, and Max Verstappen, I'm sure, could vouch for this, as that car will take flight if this occurs.
Yeah, that's not fun. I don't think that's a fun thing to do, Daniel, but anyways, we do have another overtake, maybe for the lead. Barry back onto the inside, going into the hairpin here. Is he going to be able to get it done? Looks like we got another move here. Christian Kabenka on Jorg Money as well. Everything's popping off at the hairpin.
It looked like Simon Ball, actually, Kabenka made the move, and he lost out. Simon Ball, the 76 car, made it up on the inside. So it's kind of like a double or nothing kind of thing. And in that case, Kabenka, he got nothing. He came out worst in that scenario, and he's currently down one position from where he started. And as I look through the field, actually, it looks like Joshua Wilkie, he's currently the hard charger, up 6 positions now, the Canadian driver in the 2-2-3.
Yeah, Joshua Wilkie absolutely flying right now, up 6 positions. He has got Paul Stevens right ahead of him, and this is for class as well. Paul Stevens is in S2, as is Joshua Wilkie. So hopefully he can get track down Paul Stevens, and it looks like it's going to be easy for him too, because there was just an overtake Montgomery on Cathcart there. Everything's popping off here midfield.
Oh, definitely. It's one of the things we talked about at the start of the show. It doesn't matter where you are in the order, there is always someone to race with. And a lot of these guys I've raced with as well. And it's fair to say these guys, they know how to drive. You are not going to get any easy passes with these gentlemen. So, well, I don't know. If that guy's actually driven by a cat, that might be an easy pass, just, throw a bit of catnip out there. But I've got to say, that cat with the crown as well, I might add, doing a fantastic job so far. David Foy, although he's down 3 positions, he is still in the top 10, which is quite a respectable feat in such a field.
It is a very respectable feat. Foy now up into P8 at the moment. Hopefully he can keep Jesus Rodriguez behind him, but Jesus hot on his tail. And again, the slipstream opportunities here. Let's talk about that. Jesus Rodriguez and David Foy battling. Look at that gap that they have formed to Jorge Gonzaga up there in 7th place.
Well, definitely the slipstream is a huge thing. You can see there the field has started to spread out into a couple of different packs. So as I have a look through the timing, first 7 cars, they're all pretty close together. And then there's a little bit of a gap around 7 with David Foy. But actually, who's parked off there? That's a little bit of a whoops. We was watching them earlier, actually. I'm trying to think who it was. We'll take a quick peek a little bit later. But I'm looking for a telltale sign. Yeah, that was Simon Ball, the 76 car. He's down 12 positions now, so something going wrong for the 76. He was contending for the lead not long ago. There we go. Let's have a quick look at the replay. The track limit racing car, 76, very quick to get off the racing line. I can't say I fault him there. Certainly in real life, you would definitely have those cheeks clenched and very much get me out of here scenario.
Let's see what happened here to Simon Ball. Going up the inside of, it looks like Antonio Reese, maybe? Is there... Oh, he just loses the rear end of the car. That's unfortunate for Simon. And it looks like that may have hurt, I believe. That was Jorge Gonzaga, actually, that hurt. He spun in front of, and Jorge lost quite a few positions there on that little exchange.
Well, definitely. Sometimes you got to do what my racing mentor taught me, and that is low risk, high reward. And I'd like to say that I always follow that, but ladies and gentlemen, I would 100% be lying. But right now, there is battles going on all over the track right now. Yeah, Jorg Money, he's trying to take that first position away from Christian Kabanga. They're currently about 3 tenths per second, and 2 tenths back to Antonio Reese, and then about another 3-4 tenths back to James Barry. Jason Green, he's a seasoned veteran here at the Weekend Warriors. He's back in 5th, about 6 tenths per second behind the lead 4.
Yeah, it is all good, all good. We have a 3-wide battle, though, now. No, it looks like Christian Kabanga thought better of that, decided to get back and back. Jorg Money takes the lead. And something we need to know about Jorg Money, and Daniel, if you've raced him, we always talk about Jorg. Maybe he's trying to save some fuel. Every time we interview Jurg, he's like, nope, I just go out there and I race. No fuel saving, no tire saving. This guy is out there to win the race from lap 1, from minute 1, and he's going to be a tough guy to pass now that he's in the lead.
Well, definitely, certainly looking at the guy, you wouldn't assume that he would have such an aggressive mindset. You know, this gentleman appears that he could sell you life insurance, should be fine. You know, he seems like a very mild-mannered individual, but certainly some of the racing drivers I've met in real life, commentating at the local road course, you meet them and they're such friendly people, then all of a sudden you put them behind the wheel of a car. And it's like a Jekyll and Hyde scenario. And certainly my track day instructor, I'm like, oh yeah, he seems very calm, very relaxed. And all of a sudden, like, get in his car, and I'm like, whoa.
Oh yeah, yep, absolutely. So, but nonetheless, we've got Jurg Monty, Antonio Reese, and James Barry rounding out your top 3. Those are 2 Masters class drivers, by the way, in P1 and P2, and these guys are battling for the championship as well, so we're going to have to keep an eye on this battle. Looks like James Barry went very, very wide there. I do believe that was James Barry that went wide. I saw a car going wide in the background, but let's talk about Chris Montgomery here, now winning in your S2 class. Joshua Wilkie back there in P2. What has happened to David Foy? He is way back.
Yeah, definitely not what he had in mind. Actually, you say that, Christian Kabanga, he's dropped back as well. He's now in 5th. Not quite sure what's going on there, but definitely battles going on throughout the field. Those top 6 have pulled away an even larger gap now to 7th place. Rodriguez there is leading the pack, starting at 7th. So definitely a little bit of movement in the field. But you see there, Wilkie is up 10 spots right now, having an absolute belter of a race for him.
He is. Let's see if we can see what happened to David Foy. Again, all these corners are treacherous. Looks like he gets on the curbs a little bit. Everything seemed to be doing okay for now, but this is that corner that I said, oh, on the brakes, look out. Foy loops it around. Doesn't look like anybody else gets involved, though, but that is not going to help David Foy in his championship hopes.
Definitely not. It's very, very easy to get over rotation on these cars. I will say I've commentated F1600s before, and I've also driven them a little bit as well. Very, very fun car, but you have to be very precise and very intentional under the braking. You can trail brake them a little bit, but you do not want to overdo it. That back end will spin around on you, as we just see David Foy demonstrate.
Yeah, 100%.
Uh-oh.
Back up.
Simon.
Oh, go ahead.
I just see Simon Ball. He's just dropped down a bit more now. He's currently in 18th place. I wonder what is happening with him. Certainly not what he's got in mind. But as we're there looking at the front, again, the battle is pretty close. 0.3 of a second, half a second there. But actually through the field, it looks like Simon Ball and Paul Jackson, they're getting into it a little bit as well. Let's see what happened with the 76 car of Simon Ball.
Was this the same corner that maybe David Foy fell on as well? Going left, gets on the brakes, and loops it. Man, they are having issues around that.
Well, on the upside, they will learn very quickly which is the problem corners. You know, you certainly learn, okay, some corners you can go in and push harder, and you can actually sacrifice your lap time further on. So, you know, it could be one of those, you know, you just got to dial it back a little bit to be faster overall.
Yep, absolutely. Now back here to the Spec 2 battle. Looks like Montgomery and Wilkie. Wilkie has caught Montgomery now, and this will be, well, he's almost caught Wilkie, let's say, and this is going to be for the win in Spec 2. So Wilkie is absolutely moving even. Just now trying to get past Cathcart and then trying to track down Montgomery, but man, it is a hornet's nest back here.
Well, definitely very, very busy, and you got to be aware not just of the car ahead of you, but the car behind you as well. And that is one of the reasons I love the F1600s, because the draft is such a huge part of the battle. And don't get me wrong, if you can find it, say you're lacking on pace a little bit, like I've often had that experience, if I have a car ahead of me, if I can just keep with him, that can often keep me in the race. And really, I prefer being in a pack. And certainly, it's worked well for Wilkie so far. Up 10 positions. He's on the backside of Chris Montgomery, chasing him down with Rodriguez, not far up the road either.
Yep, Rodriguez up there in this battle as well. And then you've got that big gap to Jorge Gonzaga, who has kind of spread himself out even from the leaders as well. So really, it's now just the top 5 who are still in a battle, and that is a very, very wide exit by Jason Green, who is normally a very, very quick driver here, and he is not out of it by any stretch of the imagination yet. Only 11 minutes turned.
Well, that is a beautiful thing about this race, 40 minutes as well. Now, maybe this is something you can expand a little bit on for me, Adam, as well. Tell you what, we'll hold that point for a minute because it looks like Adam Reese, Adam Reese. You're Adam. He's Antonio. Antonio Reese is currently under attack. He's going to have a rearview mirror currently full of Jorg Mane and James Barry as well. I'd say Jason Green and actually Christian Kabanga looks like he's going to get the move done here. Let's see what happened. It looks like Reese managed to take the lead in this scenario from Jorg Mane.
He did.
Yeah, it goes...
Going into the hairpin here. Yeah, going into the hairpin. He got it done even before the entry of the hairpin. Looks like Jurg kind of gave that one to him. Gonna now sit in the slipstream. Ooh, Antonio gets a little bit loose. You got to watch that sausage curve there on the left-hand side.
Yeah, definitely you want to avoid sausage curves at all costs. Don't get me wrong, though. I'm kind of hungry. I'd eat a sausage sandwich at this point, but I don't think I'd want one that's been absolutely mowed down by a field of 26, 27 cars. And actually, speaking of which, I see Adam Bradshaw. He appears to have retired as well, so not quite the race he was looking for. But certainly, as we look through the field, the hard charger right now is Joshua Wilkie with a couple of drivers also matching, well, not matching up, but a couple of drivers matching each other up 5 positions. You've got Sancinelli, Paul Jackson, and Gary Wolbold.
Yep, absolutely. Sancinelli is also a very quick driver. I've covered him in the past as we've got a spinner. Who is that? That's Simon Ball around again in the same corner.
I will say this, Adam. Once you get a little bit of heat in the tires of these F1600s from something like a spin, they never really quite truly recover. You know, that's... it's not like flat spot, and I mean they may potentially be flat spot a little bit, but they basically just get one area of the tire that gets so hot, so temp, and it's like driving on glass at points, and it takes so much self-control to try and compensate for that, to try and give it a chance to recover. But you're really up against it. You've added like an extra load of heat into the mix that the tires just weren't ready for.
Yep, nope, you are totally right there, and it's going to get worse here as we can check here real quick. Let's see what the track temp's looking like right now. Only 96, I say only 96 degrees Fahrenheit, and I don't know if you use freedom units up there in Canada, or if you use well, I'm not going to say the other word, but yeah, it's 96 degrees, and that is pretty warm, especially for these cars, as we've got a battle. It's going to go 3 wide into turn 3, I believe, and it looks like James Barry overtakes both Masters drivers to get that lead back. Now they're 2x2.
Well, I personally think that Jason Green in the 160 car has got the best seat at the minute, because these guys, they are definitely going hard at it, and I think he's actually playing it pretty smart at this point. Sure, he could try and force the issue and go 3 wide, but if I was him, I would stay way back out of that battle, just try and stay on the tail end and potentially try and save some fuel and make up some ground during the closing stages of the race.
I think that is exactly what he's doing. It looks like Christian Kabanga now trying to make a move on Jurg Mane. Jurg Mane's lost 2 positions over the span of 15 seconds here, but Jurg trying to go the over-under on Christian Kabanga. That was close.
Well, that is the beautiful thing about these F1600s. You can certainly get the cars as close as possible. On occasions, I've actually seen it. So if you was to look vertically along the line of the car, you'll see freewheels in the line because you can get them that close, ladies and gentlemen. That is just how tight the racing can be in these cars. And I've got no doubt that these guys will be very aware of that and have the skill and talent to do so.
Got Tim Cox saying the C unit of measurement. The C unit of measurement of temperature stands for correct. Tim, listen here, man. You just go broadcast your own race. We don't want you in here. Who cares? Just because you're British, and I apologize, Daniel. I know that's a slip on you as well.
I'm right here, man.
It doesn't matter. Anyways, back to the lead. James Barry still in first position with Antonio Reese in second. Christian Kabanga in third. Jurg Mane lost a couple positions that last lap. Jason Green, like you said, still holding on to the back. Jorge Gonzaga still running his own race, but watch out. Chris Montgomery, they're a field of very angry, what sound like bees probably coming towards him right now, and they're all slipstreaming, all staying in line. Jesus Rodriguez there in 8th position with Joshua Wilkie still in touching distance of that S2 win.
Well, it's definitely a close battle, and you can see here it's exactly as we predicted. Once the field starts to spread out, you end up with these own little clumps of tracks. You see one of the cars going a little bit wide there, but able to hold on. That is definitely going to sacrifice his exit speed on the corner, and that's the 76 of Jesus Rodriguez. So that's opening him up to Chris Montgomery, who's there, definitely applying pressure, but it looks like someone's going around the outside. Is that Wilkie trying to make a move? Defended there by Montgomery. He wasn't having any of that.
That was impressive stuff, and this is not a position where Montgomery wants to be, trying to overtake and getting overtaken. Wilkie gonna try it again. Montgomery goes for a little bit of a block there, but it doesn't look like he's gonna be able to do it. Wilkie trying to take the lead in the S2 class. Is he gonna be able to get it done? He does not get the run with Montgomery on the outside. He's gonna have to live to fight another day as we've got a battle with Cathcart and Adrian right behind them.
Oh, it's definitely a very tense place to be. Certainly these cars, I love the fact they're actually quite small as well, because it does open up so many more passing opportunities as they're getting ready to go down the start-finish straight of this scenario. And the biggest thing here is you need to make sure you get the cleanest possible exit and maintain as much exit speed as you can. Carry it all the way down the straight and there into turn 1 as you see them going around now.
That is 100% correct, and that is why Montgomery was able to hold on to that position. He had more speed on corner exit on the outside. Wilkie was pinched down to the inside, and these things are not GT3s or F1s or any other cars. They've got, I don't even know, I think the 1600 stands for 1600cc motors, so they do not have the speed or the power out of corners that you would expect a Formula One-ish looking car to have. So this is very, very momentum dependent, kind of like your Miatas or your Spec Racer Fords.
Oh, 100%. And I do actually know a couple of guys who they've got to. Oh, uh-oh, ouch.
That's not good. Who was that? Was that Cathcart that went around? It was. Looks like Cathcart and Adrian got into a bit of a tussle there.
It does appear that Cathcart's car is now at this point mechanically challenged. It does appear that the right front wheel may have left a chat, but let's take a quick replay here. You see the Australian driver in the 905. He's ahead right now. You see the 10 car trying to make a move on the inside. Have they just got a little bit too close? Oh, no. A little bit of a wiggle. I'd say that's probably a little bit of net code as well, and a little bit of maybe not leaving quite enough space as the right front wheel there. That pops off, and that ends his race for Brad Cathcart.
Yep, that is unfortunate now for Cathcart. Really up there in the battle. That 6-car field is now turned into 5, but don't look now. Antonio Reese trying to make a move on James Berry. Very similar paint jobs, I must say. One's just a little brighter than the other, so that is a bit confusing, but James Berry still holding on to the lead. Jurgemani, do not count him out. Or Jason Green. Jason Green goes wide, though. And let's talk about that. There are bonus points available for the least amount of incidents. I believe if you have 0 to 2, you get 2 bonus points, and 2 to 4, I believe, if someone can correct me, you get 1. So, yeah, there are bonus points up for grabs as well for clean racing. And right now, it doesn't look like James Berry wants any of that. James Berry wants this win. Or sorry, Jason Green. My bad.
Well, sometimes as well, while it can be beneficial for the points-wise to get the bonus from having a cleaner race, often at some tracks, I mean, in Spa, for instance, you can sometimes gain a bit of an advantage by taking an incident point, and you got to weigh up the pros and cons. Obviously, you don't want to get disqualified, but certainly there is what's called the tactical foul almost, and certainly I wouldn't expect it from these guys, but I wouldn't rule them out on knowing if there is some, where they are either.
Yeah, that is very true. I'm sure there has been some practice done on this track and in the officials to see exactly where you might be able to get away with, just a little more than you should. Not going to call it exploitation. Uh-oh. Jurgemani is back. Ooh, that would have been bad. Jurgemani with a bit of a blink there. Antonio Reese there, still in the lead, though, getting chased by a very, very hungry Christian Kubenka. He wants that lead. We're now halfway through the race. Get ready. If the gloves haven't come off yet, Daniel, they're about to.
Oh, very much. And these guys, honestly, this is one of the times where you're commentating the race and you just wish you was out there in the action. But a little bit more about the car. So to put it into context, these things have about 116 horsepower, which is very comparable to my old 2011 Mazda 2 that I used to have that got rear-ended by a truck. So obviously, it's very comparable to some of these cars. I will say some of these, I'm sure, have no doubt been rear-ended, but just 13-inch tires on them as well, with a little 4-speed manual as well. So I do wonder as well, out of all of these drivers, and it's often very rare we see that in the sim today, I wonder how many of these guys are going to be using a H-pattern shifter.
Well, that is true, and I don't know if that's, especially in the sim world, I don't know if that's any much of an advantage compared to using paddles because of the type of technology iRacing uses, but it could be a bit of an advantage, definitely more emergent. Now, let's talk about this. After this move, maybe Kubenka on Antonio Reese for the lead. Is he going to get it done? Is Reese going to let it go? Looks like Reese does lift, lets Kubenka go, so Kubenka now in the lead. When you're 2011. What did you say that was? Your little 2011 Mazda got rear-ended. It with 116 horsepower, it probably wasn't much slower after that, was it?
No, I will say that in my defense, I did tie the rear bumper to a tree and try to straighten it out, and the whole rear of the car came off. So it wasn't super aggressive, but it's more like I looked down and I'm like, okay, I can see daylight. Okay, yeah, Well, I bought back the car because I had enough parts in it that I made the money back, but it was certainly like I'm not going to save this one.
Yeah, well, you tried, and you made it a little worse, but that's okay. Back to the racing again. A little bit off topic there, but thanks for the share. And yeah, guys, PSA, do not tie your back bumpers to trees to try to straighten them out. That's, I think, what we've learned from that one. But Jorgmani there still sitting in 4th position, trying to track down James Berry. Antonio Reese, though, that is the guy he's chasing. He's got to get to him. Antonio Reese in the lead in points in Masters class. Jorg wants that spot, or at least wants to beat Antonio Reese.
Sometimes as well, attrition is the name of the game. And don't get me wrong, while these guys can fight really, really hard, and certainly they are doing at the minute, you got to weigh up the pros and cons. Is it worth pushing that bit harder? As you see there, Joshua Wilkie, that's your hard charger today so far. He's coming in to make his scheduled pit stop. At least I hope it's scheduled, taking a quick run through the pits. And I do see it as well for the ladies and gentlemen at home. These guys do have a fast repair available if they need it, just one. So a little bit of forgiveness there from the Weekend Warriors.
Yep, that is a good thing for some of these drivers that may have been into incidents. Now, a fast repair doesn't save you, especially without cautions. If you wreck like someone's wheel who left the chat a little bit earlier, you're not going to be able to get that towed back in a fast repair and be competitive. But if you do have a little bit of damage you're carrying from a little bit of contact or a curb or something like that, you can get that fast repair completed while you go in for your scheduled pit stops, be back out there, maybe be a little bit quicker and be more competitive. But speaking of competitive, looks like Jorgmani tried to make a move on Barry, wasn't able to get it done. Jorg is starting to get aggressive now, maybe pit stops, maybe having something to do with this. Jorg outside, trying to go back to the inside, doesn't happen yet. Antonio Reese still leading this field around. Now the question is, who's going to blink first? Who wants to come in? Maybe one of these drivers in the pack, a.k.a. Jorg or James Berry, or even Christian Kubenka come in now to let themselves free of this traffic just a little bit. Now, the draft may not be may be more beneficial than coming in by yourself. I don't know. What do you think, Daniel?
I was just thinking about that as well, and myself, I'd be staying out with the field as long as possible. Don't get me wrong, if I'm at in the middle or at the back of this pack, I'm going to follow the guy directly ahead of me, as long as it doesn't compromise, because if you lose that draft, it could be huge. But it looks like they're coming up on a back marker right now. So if that was me, the question is, can you go into the pits, come back out, and then end up in traffic, or can you avoid it? That's not something that the iRacing spotters I've ever experienced can calculate for you. So definitely, it's sticks and stones. If you was to pit now, I myself think that would not be the right call. I would stay out as long as possible, because any traffic that the car ahead of you faces, you will also be facing. So it's the same battle, it's the same conditions, and it can hopefully keep you competitive. As we see Chris Montgomery overshooting the mark a little bit, kind of like Oscar Piastri did at the Belgian Grand Prix.
Well, let's look now, because this is going to get close. We saw Chris probably coming in to try to cover off Joshua Wilkie here. Chris Montgomery still in the pits. He is exiting now. This is going to be close. Here comes Wilkie down the front straight. Where is Montgomery? He is out of the pits. He has gained a bunch of time in the pits. Wilkie must have had a very, very slow stop, and he did a 20-second pit lane time of 41 seconds compared to Chris's 39. So that is where that gap came from.
Well, 2-second gap. He's really going to have to drive the socks off that car. Maybe the lime green wheels can give him some extra pace. Certainly, you would see him coming. That's for sure. That's Absolutely. One of the things as well. Have a bright orange car, you'll never miss it. But yeah, as we see here, sorry, go ahead. After you, sir.
100% on the bright cars here. And as you can see, there are quite a few bright cars here around the track. Christian Kubenka, though, still in the lead, and not as bright of a car as James Berry or Antonio Reese for that matter, or Jorgmani, who may have the best paint job, I think, in the field.
I'm just trying to work out what his paint job is. It's the orange one with the bright colors. And there we go. They're all absolutely, I see all of them, a good portion of them are filing into the pit. So Jorgmani, he snuck in. I'm trying to work out who's that ahead of him. Antonio Reese has kept going. Looks like Jason Green has kept going as well. So it looks like Kabanga, Barry, and Jurgmani, those three have all got in the pits now. And it's going to be a race off the line, I guess. And ironically, all next to each other as well. This is going to be beautiful carnage.
Yep, this could get very, very interesting on pit exit. Let's see who gets out first. We will stay on this battle for just a minute because this could end in a bit of carnage. It looks like, oh my goodness, Kubenka out very, very late compared to James Berry, already out of the pits. Jurgmani very, very slow in his pit stop as well. Look at the gap now between those three drivers.
Yeah, that's definitely not the pit stop he was looking for, but we will certainly see near the end, have the other guys got enough fuel? Maybe, you know, that is as well, if you've been running in a pack, potentially saving some fuel, you know, that can certainly mess with your pit stop when the thing calculates it. If then all of a sudden you're at the front and harder on the gas and you've got a little more wind resistance pushing against the car, all of a sudden it's not hard. You can find yourself that the fuel is a little bit too close for comfort.
Yep, it will be. And I do want to mention Stevie Ray and any other drivers in here right now or that are going to be watching this later. I do see the Sim Motion logo up on the top right-hand side of the screen. That is not the sponsor anymore. The new sponsor for the rest of this season is going to be Vince. His is Vince Hom. He has not raced yet, but he decided we want to thank him for covering the rest of the season here for the Formula Fords. Thank you so much, Vince, for covering and allowing this broadcast to be put on. We all thank you so much. So, yeah, again, title sponsor for this race and the races moving forward are going to be Vince Hom.
Well, that is definitely a huge thanks there. And certainly, you know, it can often be difficult to gain sponsors. But right now, Jason Green, he's somebody who could do with a sponsor because he's out in front and he is representing very well. So if you obviously, you know, you like Jason Green, here's your chance, ladies and gentlemen. But as we see there, who's in the pits is Antonio Reese, the 914 car. Let's see how he emerges when he comes out of the pits. See if he is managed to get ahead of that pack or if he ends up behind it. It's going to be interesting to find out as he's there leaving the pit stall. And I got to be honest, it looks like he's going to be a little bit behind it at this point. Yet there you go. Kubanga's gone by, Barry's gone by, and it looks like he may just be able to catch the draft from him, but only just.
He is, and that might actually help out Jurgmani now because there is a driver in between those two lead drivers. Jurg might be able to just get a sniff of some draft here. He's going to have to do some very, very clean laps to get back up to those drivers as there are only about 12 minutes left in the session. So this is not looking too great for Jurgmani. Jason Green, though, looking okay for him, but the problem is he has not stopped yet. And you can see Jason Green on track as there's a spinner there. Who was that just spun? It looks like that may have been Brad Cathcart, able to get around okay. But yes, Jason Green up here in the lead, probably going to be stopping this lap maybe, or just going to run it to the end of his fuel stint as I don't know how long that's going to be. But don't discount Jason Green. I've seen some massive battles between him and Megan Overstreet as well. So there could be something that Jason Green is holding up his sleeve here.
Well, he's definitely going to need something up his sleeve. As I'm looking at the pit stop times, like the lane times, I'm seeing like anywhere from like 31 up to about 37, even 40 seconds. Some gentlemen had 2:26, but we know why that was. But he's currently about 25 seconds ahead. So realistically, that's going to put him about 10 seconds off the lead. So it's not going to be able to hold on to the front spot. But I don't think he's quite going to be able to stay in the top of the pack. We're going to have to wait and see. I think he'll end up reappearing in about 6th place ahead of Fabian Singer.
So here we go. Jason Green now in the pits. Looking here at James Berry, who is going to be the overall leader of this race now. Coming around the final corner down the front stretch. Doesn't even look like Jason Green is still actually stationary. He's just now getting out. Let's see where he comes out in relation to the rest of these drivers. There goes Berry. There goes Kubenka. Where is Reese? There's Reese. It looks like Green might still be in the battle here.
That was an absolutely fantastic pit stop. The lane time, as I have a look, 32.5. So he did very well to get out there. I was not expecting that much from him, in all fairness, looking at the timing screen. But Antonio Reese is really, really hot on the backside of Jason Green there. If he gets any closer, he's going to be able to tell him exactly what he had for lunch. But Green handling the pressure very, very well at this point.
Yep, Green is going to just going to let Antonio Reese go here. They don't need to be battling. As you can see, the drivers up front are not battling. Kabanka, Barry still sitting in line, and they are going to battle into turn number 6, I believe. So yeah, this is not going to be going well for Antonio Reese or Jason Green if they're trying to get back up to the pack. But with that being said, Antonio Reese doesn't really need to. He just needs to stay ahead of Jurg Money, and he's doing exactly that.
Well, this comes to the question where you almost want to perform like a little bit of a temporary teammate scenario, because if your problem is behind the guy behind you, you almost want him to try and, help you, stop passing each other. Let's slipstream and try and get ahead to James Barry and Christian Kabanga up in first and second. But I'll go be honest, if I was Jason Green in this scenario, do I see Jurg Money as a threat? If the answer is yes, then I'm going to try and slipstream and try and help Antonio Reese, that 914 car, get as close to the first and second position as much as possible.
Let's talk about Chris Montgomery very quickly here. He is still leading Joshua Wilkie. Joshua still stuck in that pack. That slow pit stop did not help him at all. It doesn't really look like he's been able to catch Chris Montgomery that much. If anything, he's definitely lost on Chris Montgomery quite a bit. He is now 3 seconds behind Chris Montgomery, and when he came out of the pits, he was only 2. So this is not looking great for Joshua Wilkie's hopes in taking that Spec 2 win.
Well, he's also got Kevin Adrian right behind him as well, definitely applying the pressure, just 0.2 of a second in that gap. Now, Adrian was the one who we saw have a bit of a tangle with Brad Carfart earlier, who did use that fast repair, cut back out on track. He's currently Carfart back in 23rd place, not the race he was looking for today. But Adrian for Adrian Autosports in the number 10 car, he's definitely keeping Wilkie very honest at this point. We see another car coming out the pits. This could add an interesting mix to it. It's the number 14 car of Philip. Yeah, you got that one, Adam.
Yeah. I'm not even gonna. It's a number 14 car of Philip. So that's Philip came out in between that battle here. Let's see exactly where he actually decided to come out. He is sitting in 24th position right now, and it looks like he is. Yeah, he's just letting drivers go. Obviously, a lap down at the moment. So yeah, just let the lead lap drivers go. Great driving by Philip to not get involved in this heated battle.
I gotta say, looking at the name, I would hazard a guess as this driver is maybe from Finland. Would be my educated guess, but don't get me wrong, I could be wrong. Certainly, it can be very challenging as a commentator, try not to absolutely pooch anybody's names. But on the flip side, my last name's Salmon, and people go Mr. Salmon. So I don't feel so bad about it at that point.
I'm sorry to cut you off there, but Wilkie got very loose, allowing Kevin Adrian maybe to get a bit of a sniff of an overtake here. Is Adrian going to try it, or is he going to stay behind Wilkie? Looks like he's just going to stay behind, but that was... Wilkie may need to change his pants after this race.
Well, that is another way of doing the racing, ladies and gentlemen, is sometimes you can beat them on all-out pace, and then my personal favorite, ride their rear end as hard as possible and force them into a error. That is one of my favorites. Certainly whenever I've done endurance races, I've had scenarios like that. I remember a team took us out in a Creventic 10-hour race in GT4s, and we came back out of the pits, and I literally rode that guy's bumper by about 1/10 of a second for 5 laps, to the point where they pulled over and begged us not to follow. You can definitely apply pressure and force a mistake if need be.
You absolutely can do that, but hey, don't look now. We've been looking through the field, but this battle up front is still hotting up pretty good. We got Barry and Kabanka back and forth here. Where do you want to be with 5 minutes to go right now? Who do you want to be in this situation, Daniel?
I would 100% be in the second position of Christian Kabanka. It is, I mean, you could go and try and take the move now, get ahead, but you've got to learn, and you've got to, like, basically it's the same kind of thing as Spa, right? So at Spa, you could pass at turn 1 before you head down the hill through a rouge and out of Redulian. You could do that. But realistically, what's the point? You're better off stay behind turn 1, get as much slipstream as you can, and then get ahead on the backside. But then on the flip, when you get near the end and heading towards Blanchimont, you then potentially going to get past then. So these drivers, I have got no doubt, will know when is the technical time, the technically advantageous time to make that pass. And I'm pretty sure that's exactly what the number 9 of Christian Kabanga is doing right now. He'll know, okay, if I pass in this corner, I'm then going to be ahead. As you go down the start-finish straight, look, the finish line quite close. I think he's going to have to get the move done before then, but certainly not wanting to get ahead just yet. Very, very intentional driving. my colleague there. If he is talking, he is potentially muted his mic.
I was muted. Thank you so much. Yeah, keep an eye on that flagman as well. We've got about 4 minutes left in the race. Uh-oh, Jorge Gonzaga is falling down the field as well. Let's see exactly what happened to Jorge here.
Yeah, my timing screen just lit up bright red. Let's see what happened. I'd say the traffic cone liveried car at this point. That looks like he's going around the final turn. Everything looks good. Everything looks clean. Maybe run a little bit too wide. Nope, that looks okay to me.
Oh, well, that's what happened. But it's okay. He didn't crash. iRacing thought he did because he lost connection for half a second there. And let me tell you, if you're Jorge Gonzaga and you see all the other cars disappear, that is not a very good feeling.
Oh, definitely not. It's especially near the end of a race. You know, it doesn't matter how good it's been going. If you go and lose connection, that's it. It's all thrown away at this point. But as I look, this is a battle for the race lead. James Barry, he's currently 0.2 of a second ahead of Christian Kabanga. As we look back now as well, Jurg Money, he's managed to catch up a little bit onto Jason Green. So right now we're going to have a free car battle between, where's it gone? Antonio Rice, Jason Green, and Jurg Money, 0.4 per second and 0.5 per second respectively. So this could be the battle that Antonio Rice was not looking for at this point. My colleague has yet again gone silent. I think his mute button is...
My goodness, I gotta stop doing that. Yeah, he does. Oh, no! Oh,
no! Ouch.
Oh. Well, there's Jorg Mani's Masters hopes just kind of diminished there. Let's see what happened. It almost looked like Green locked up. Let's see it from the in-car here. It looks like Green had a bit of a lock-up going into the final corner, and it just left Monty nowhere to go.
Oh, yeah, a little bit of an over-rotation, and yeah, nothing he could do, completely accidental, and it's fair to say that it didn't work out very well for Monty at all. He's dropped back pretty heavily at this point. Actually, I'm trying to find him. Yeah, he's all the way back in 23rd now, so that is definitely not what he was hoping for. Again, definitely an accident, but Jason Green, he's managed to keep the car out on track. He's got about 10-second gap between him and Rodriguez. So, you know, in the closing stages of this race, he's got about another lap, maybe two. Can he hold on to that fourth position?
Let's keep an eye on the flagman here. This is going to be now exactly probably 1 to go as they cross the line. Flagman on the left-hand side of your screen from this camera angle. So let's see where the flagman is going to be. Definitely going to be 1 to go here, and this is when Kabanka is going to want to make the move on Barry. See what happens and when he does it.
Well, he's been sitting back there. I mean, he may have been saving fuel as well. He might have took a little bit of a lighter splash purely with this tactic in mind, but you can see they're closing up as close as possible, under 0.2 of a second, even down to 0.1 of a second there very briefly as they are in the closing stages of the track, going around that for lack of better words, the little horseshoe effect, I'm going to call it for now. Probably not the right name, but that's how I depict it as. But then again, I can't draw, ladies and gentlemen. So use that with your own devices. They head around the final turn, looking for the white flag at this point. As Adam was saying, going to be on the left of your screen. And I lost him. There he is, in the background.
We found him. White flag lap. Here we go. Kabanka versus Barry. Where does Kabanka try to make the move? I would assume it's coming up very, very shortly into the hairpin there, which I know there's an actual name for it, but into the hairpin. We're going to see when Kabanka decides to do it. Does he decide to leave it late, or does he try to get the move done early? Going to catch the slipstream here. Closing. Probably going to dip out right, but Barry might see that one coming and block the inside line. No, he doesn't. He lets Barry go, or he lets Kabanka go to the inside. Kabanka is going to get the move done. Now Barry on the attack for the last half a lap here. It doesn't look like Barry's gonna let this one go, actually. Battling, trying to go over under, makes Kabanka go in deep. Now Barry's gonna have the drive out of the corner.
That was definitely intentional as they went through Spitzkehre, and they're going to heading down. They're going to have about a 30-degree right-hander next. You see there, almost side by side. This is going to be followed by a 90-degree left. Very, very tight turn. These guys almost touching at that point. They're around there, heading into the closing stages of the track. Not quite there yet. Heading through what I'm calling the horseshoe, but let's not get into my drawing skills at this point. Nothing but clear track ahead of them at this point, so no one should be able to interfere in that battle. Side by side, nearly had contact there. That's going to put Kubanka on the inside for this next hairpin. This could be what decides it, and he's gone right on the outside, actually trying to cover off the car. I do wonder if Barry is going to be close enough to potentially slipstream. They've got 2 corners left to go. This is penultimate one now. Barry right up close, 0.3 of a second. I'm not sure it's going to be close enough, 0.2 of a second. He's got to keep his foot on that loud pedal. Catches a little bit of a curve, but has Kubanka done it? Barry going to the inside, and Kubanka gets it.
That is great driving. Kubanka put his car to the outside of that corner to try to squeeze Barry, to try to squeeze Barry down, and he did exactly that. Did not allow Barry to drive off the corner. Kubanka with the win. Now, Antonio Reese does come home in the Masters class. There was a bit of a, I'm sure he was holding his breath while Jurg Monty was in there, but contact between him and Jason Green left him out. But Chris Montgomery going to be your Spec 2 winner as well, followed by Dana Bowes, and then Joshua Wilkie with a slow pit stop. Unfortunately for Joshua, was not able to get back into the fight, but he is battling right now with Bill Walker. It looks like Joshua Wilkie may be out of fuel. He's going to lose 2 positions going down the line.
Oh dear, definitely needed a little bit more of a generous serving, and he's in the pits. Sorry, sir, I'll take a double, not a single on that occasion. Beautiful thing about iRacing, you know, nobody's judging at that point, but a couple of battles going on near the end. Looks like Peter True in the 388. He's got a little bit of contagion. Ooh, that was tight.
That was Edgar Santinelli that almost got around Peter True there. Stevie Ray going to be coming home. P2 in your Masters division. Great drive by Stevie. Jurg Monty obviously was definitely P2 until the incidents. Jim Brewster and Gary Woolbolt 3 and 4 in Masters, with Paul Jackson coming home in 20th. Brad Cathcart, another Masters driver about to come through and cross the line. We got 2 more drivers here. Looks like Cathcart's going to be able to hold off Bockhurst for the final 2 positions.
Well, what a fantastic race there, Adam. Absolute belter, but I knew coming in that these guys knew how to drive, and I knew he was going to be in for a treat for sure. But I got to say, you know, even though Wilkie didn't get the position he wanted, he still did have, up until the end, he was the hard charger. But Dana Bowles actually able to secure that hard charger up 9 spots. So he started 17th and finished 8th. Well done, Dana Bowles.
He did a great job for sure. And we will get you guys results right now, Ashley. Go ahead and take us through them, Daniel.
All right, in first place, obviously, we saw that battle going on. That was Christian Kubanka. He was there in the number 9 car. James Barry in second, with Antonio Reese managing to hold on a third. Jason Green, we saw him get into that incident earlier with Marnie. He was able to hold on 4th. Lost about 5 seconds in the last 2 laps, but enough that Rodriguez there in 5th was not able to catch him. Joe Gonzalez, he was in 6th, with Chris Montgomery in 7th. Dana Bowles in 8th. That's your hard charger, ladies and gentlemen. Bill Walker in 9th, and Paul Stevens in 10th. Joshua Wilkie, we saw him near the end, losing a bit of fuel there. Well, at least he didn't quite have enough. He was in 11th, with David Foy in 12th. Fabian Singer in 13th, with Peter True in 14th. Edgar Santinelli in 15th, with Stevie Ray in 16th, Jim Brewster in 17th, and Gary Woolbolt in 18th. As we have a look now at 19th, who we got there. Lewis has gone. Paul Jackson for Gitz Motorsport in the 249. Kevin Agent we saw in 20th. Brad Cathcart, that's the gentleman we saw have a couple of unfortunate incidents. He was there in 21st, with Leon Bockhorst in 22nd. Philip in 23rd. Jurg Monty, we know who that was. He's the Swiss driver there. He's in 24th. For Simon Ball, not his day today. Track Limit Racing definitely was explored in 25th. With Russell Telker in 26th. And Adam Bradshaw having that early retirement there in 27th.
It looks like I've been walking through the pits here, Daniel. I don't know if you have as well, but have you found our winner of the race?
It does look like Christian Kubanka is here in the race. Christian, what an absolutely fantastic battle, sir. I got to ask, what were your tactics in the closing stages of the race? It looked like you were very deliberately holding back there.
Well, quick surprise. This is Chris Montgomery, not Christian Kubanka. I don't know why it showed Christian Kubanka for my name.
I am sorry.
That's okay. But I was behind them. But I had a good race too, so I was very happy with it.
Yeah, Chris Montgomery, you looks like you were fighting Joshua Wilkie near the end of that race, and definitely you got absolutely obliterated him on the pit stop. Now, tell us a little bit as well, something we've been discussing in the booth. Was there like corners that were very intentionally you wanted to withhold from making a pass in order to keep the position overall?
Yeah, I mean, the first half of the race, I was just behind Jesus, and I figured not even to try and battle him. I had one run down the long stretch where I had to take it, but other than that, I just wanted to tuck in behind him. And we were just making great lap times, just clicking off laps till I got to the pit. And the pit, I messed up. I actually overshot the pit a little bit, and that messed up my time, so I had to back up, and that just added a few seconds. But other than that, everything went pretty smooth.
It definitely looked like it went very well for you. We did actually, my apologies, we did catch you running past a little by, but thankfully on the upside, you didn't do it like Oscar Piastri did and completely mow down his mechanic. So nobody was injured in the race with Chris Montgomery, but certainly a good race for you. Up 3 positions. Joshua Wilkie, I got to say, he was up 10, 11 positions at one point. So, he was keen to chase you on that one. But Chris, I've got to ask, is there anybody you want to thank for your performance today?
Like always, just want to thank Stevie for putting this all on. Thank you to Slow Motion for coming on and taking over. You guys are doing a great job. Everybody really appreciates what you all do, but we couldn't do this without Stevie. So hats down. He's the one that leads the charge on all this stuff and puts this all together, and all his hard work does not go without being taken notice by everybody. So thank you to him.
Well, that is 100% fair play, and I'm not sure if I've raced you before. Usually you'd see me in the Spec Fords, but Stevie Ray is definitely a name that I've bumped into before. Hopefully not on track, but ladies and gentlemen, that was Chris Montgomery. Overall, your 7th place finisher.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
Now.
Thank you.
Oop, there he went. I think he left. But so now I have been walking through the pits, and I found an old guy, but not a slow guy. We have Antonio Reese with us, and Antonio, you got the Masters class win, but there was some nip and tuck moments with you and Jörg Monty coming down the back end of that race.
Hello, guys. Good night. We actually I could stay on the front group this time for some reason. I don't know why, but maybe I was in a good shape, or maybe with the draft or whatever.
Well,
but I was battling with the front guys. Yeah,
you did a great job being able to stay up there with them. What were your thoughts with Jörg Monty? Obviously, right at the start of the race, you were battling with him. Towards the middle part of the race, after the pit stops, it looked like he may have had a little bit of pace, but obviously, there was an incident later on in the race. But were you ever worried that he was going to try to catch you and pass you, or did you think you had the pace on him the whole race?
No, I think he was going to pass me. I was expecting to finish 5 at least behind Manny and Jason, so that was my expectation, since I didn't have any arguments for them. I could fight back with the draft, maybe try to grab a position if they don't defend well, but I think they would keep defending and trying to keep the positions.
Well, you were able to eke out that win in Masters class, and you did it in massive fashion. Obviously, the next Masters driver was Stevie Ray, who finished all the way back in 17th position, you finishing on the overall podium. Do you have high hopes? Do you think you're going to be able to hold on to this Masters class lead for the rest of the season and bring home that trophy?
I will try. I don't know if I can.
Well... all we can do
it's worth it to try.
Yeah, all we can do is try, Antonio. Anybody you want to thank or shout out before I let you go?
Yeah, thanks for you guys for broadcasting, and Steve Ray for putting everything, setting up everything, and for the the viewers, the drivers. Yeah, thank you for all. A good shout out for them.
Well, thank you so much, Antonio, for putting on a great show, and we hope to see you here in about an hour's time.
For them and for you.
Yeah,
for them and for you.
No problem. Are we going to see you in about an hour's time here in the Spec Racer Fords, hopefully?
Yeah. Sure. I'll be happy to be there again. Mm-hmm.
Okay, sounds great, Antonio. We will see you soon and hopefully be talking to you soon. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Take care.
That was Antonio Reese, and it looks like it doesn't look like we were able to get Christian Kabanka in here, but Daniel, I'll go ahead and let you talk to Joshua Wilkie. A bit of a interesting pit strategy may have put him a little bit behind, but he's all yours, Daniel.
I gotta say, Joshua, I was keeping an eye on you throughout the race. Definitely a hard charger, definitely keeping Chris Montgomery honest. But I gotta say, absolutely incredible drive doing that. Do you find yourself as qualifying? Is that not your stronger thing, and you more inclined for racecraft? Tell us a little bit about what happened there.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, quality in these cars is a bit new for me. These cars are, in general, a bit new for me. Actually, I've always raced a bit better than I qualify. Yeah, my pit strategy was a bit of a bummer. I think I actually underfueled my car going into the race, so I ended up having to take a bit more fuel. I had to pit a bit early, and then I ended up actually taking a bit more fuel, so it set me in there a bit longer. I saw Chris out ahead of me there, and then unfortunately at the end I tangled with someone. I thought I was well clear of him. It looked like he was actually letting me by, and then all the next thing I knew I was sideways. So I was actually sputtering across the line there, and I lost about 3 or 4 places because of that spin right at the end there. I'm not sure what happened. I'll have to have a look later. But yeah, that's kind of the story.
Well, definitely not the race ending that you were looking for, but Josh, I gotta say, it was an incredible drive, very entertaining to watch as well, and very easy to find you in the grid with them absolutely fluorescently bright green wheels as well. So thank you for having such a vibrant paint. But before we let you go, is there anybody you'd like to thank?
Yeah, for sure. You guys for putting on these broadcasts and stuff. All the drivers out there, obviously, it wouldn't be possible without these great drivers and Stevie and stuff. And just say a shout out to my girlfriend Claudine. And that's about it. Thanks a lot, guys.
Well, I got to say, that was an absolutely fantastic shout out as well. Joshua Wilkie, ladies and gentlemen, ended up finishing 11th overall. Certainly was a hard charger earlier on, but that position taken away from him at the very end, as we saw there. A little bit of a splutter across the line. But Adam, tell us, what are we looking forward to next, sir?
Well, let's see what we're looking forward to next. We are not done with you all today. Please tune in about an hour's time for the Spec Racer Ford. We're going to Okayama. Daniel, you're going to be on the call with me on that one. Ooh, that's going to be a good race.
Well, I got to say, I absolutely love the Spec Racer Ford. It's the only time, well, it was the first time I ever competed in the series officially on iRacing. I started with about 1300 IR, and I ended up winning my division, came third in time trial, and that's how I actually ended up finding the Weekend Warriors. So a lot of the names I'm really looking forward to seeing them race, and they've got no idea I'm going to be in the commentary booth either, so that's fun for me as well. But certainly one of those races where I don't always show up to it myself, but when it's a good car track combination, well, it's obviously always a good car, it's a Spec Racer Ford, but Okayama is going to be a absolutely fantastic track for this car.
It is, and I'm looking forward to that quite a bit. And then on Thursday, on August 8th, we've got SimCar coming back at you. They're going to be at Algarve, so it's going to be a great race, 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. Make sure to tune in there. Next Sunday, we will be back, and it's going to be another pretty big track for these cars. They're going to Imola in the Formula Ford, so please make sure to tune in for that one. This has been a great race today, to say the least, and we've got one more coming at you from the Weekend Warriors, so please tune in. My name is Adam Thompson. I've been joined in the booth by Daniel Salmon, and for the next hour, me and Daniel could probably talk about how we're gonna mess up next race, but until then, we will see you guys then. Have a great rest of your day if you don't tune in an hour.
I see a Budweiser. Go ahead and hold it up.
Yes.
That was the biggest clue.
Yes, right
Doing
there.
it for Dale.
Man, it's so many gimmicks, right? I feel like they're making it a lot more complicated than it needs to be. I mean, a lot of people, you get polarizing opinions on DRS.
I know you guys know exactly what I'm talking about here, but sometimes the effort, it's all about the boys. Like, hey, life sucks sometimes, and you need the boys.
iRacing kind of always has a tendency to kind of buff the new cars just a little bit. I'm not going to go on record saying it's because they want people to spend money on their platform and buy all the new content.
Confirmed.
But